Well, hello friends, Bug Eater64 here again, and by golly, today we're going to be in DCS, and we're going to be flying the FREEWARE Bronco OV10A. Now, this is a very nice module. I mean, it's not as high fidelity as maybe some of the others, but it is freeware and it's just a lot of fun. So we're going to do a little test flight on a mission that I set up and see how things go. So basically we're going to go through the engine startup, we're going to do a takeoff, we're going to fly partway over the English Channel and then come back and we're going to land. This is going to be on the channel map. And so let's get inside the cockpit, let's get things going, and it's time for fun. So let's go flying in DCS. See you inside. Alright, so here we are inside our Bronco OV10, and now we're not carrying any real weapons. We've got the guns on the bird, but we're not loaded for bear. So we're going to get ready to start here. So we've got the we're going to start with the right engine, get the crank switches set to auto, and click the run and then start. Now this is actually a switch that when you flip it to start, it should go up and automatically come back to the run, but it's not set up that way in the sim yet, so we'll switch it back to run once the engine is up and running. Looking at our gauges, it's spooling up quite well. We've got this is a twin turboprop aircraft, so it takes them a little bit to run up. And that looks pretty good. Alright, so it's up and running and stabilized. So let's go down and move our mixture for... Well, first let's turn on the generator for the right side. Okay, and now we've got our left mixture set. Going to left engine start switch. And it's all looking pretty good. And looking at our gauges there, they're spooling up. So everything's looking good. Winding up. Alright, so the engine is stabilized. And we'll set our mixtures to flight. And before we take off, we'll go ahead and move them all the way forward to the settings which you have set up for takeoff and landing. Double check everything here. Now the Bronco does not have a steerable nose wheel. It's a caster wheel. So we do all our ground steering with our differential brakings. So that always makes life a little interesting, to say the least. You just have to learn to be a little careful with it. Just takes practice. Okay, so down here we've got external lights all on, including our landing lights. Right now the yaw dampener is still off. We may flip it on after we get into flight, but it's not absolutely necessary. Okay. Said this is just a test flight, and we're going to be taking off from an airport near the channel, English Channel. We're going to take off and then fly over the channel, turn around and come back and land. So let's go ahead and add a little power here. Start taxiing. And look at our knee board, show where we're at on the map. No, we're not flying the Huey today. Although it won't be long. I got an F-18 coming in to land. Okay, so fuel pressure, RPMs, everything's looking good on the gauges. And I am using the Tubi head tracking system. It seems to work really well in DCS and even X-Plane, as well as Microsoft Flight Simulator. But when I'm not going to be in VR, it's a good fallback to. Alright, so we're going to come up here. It kind of lined up. We've got a very wide actual runway area, so we're not going to be we're going to be just right at the runway to do the takeoff roll. But let's start adding power. Once we get to about 100 knots, then we'll go ahead and rotate. About 90 and 100, rotate. And that looks good. Positive rate, good climb. Gear coming up. Okay, so we're up. Let's go ahead and take a little closer look at that takeoff. Okay, so gear is up. So gear up, flaps up. I'm going to go ahead and bring the mixture back to flight here shortly and retard our throttles a bit. Okay, so one of the things I've got to work on is the trim. Really doesn't appear to be working as the way I would like it to. So basically got to work on trimming this just using my control stick as well as my power settings and so on to try to keep it from, you know, climbing. See there, it's wanting to climb it, and right now I'd like to just keep it at pretty much level flight. We don't need a lot of altitude for this flight. It's getting up to, yeah, it's wanting to climb, so we're going to bring back the mixture to basically from flight down to maybe auto lean, and then okay, so with that, we're going to go ahead and start making a turn to turn around to come back to the airfield to make a landing. Now there are some bad guys in the air, but I think they're far enough away that they're not going to be a problem for us, but we shall see. But the Bronco's just a nice little airplane to fly. Great visibility in this canopy because of, you know, you're sitting fairly up inside the cockpit, and so you've got almost, if you can turn your head around, almost 360-degree view. So I'm not going to complain about that. Once we get the RPM and the throttle set, it's fairly easy to keep it on a level flight. That area across the channel there, that's where some of the bad guys were earlier. Well, we're just doing a test flight. The aircraft is equipped with the guns, but there's no ammo on board, so So we can start making our turn back. Yeah, if you just want a nice aircraft or just a fun fly, I mean, there's nothing that says you have to go out looking for bear, but if you want to look for bear, you can. This is a fun aircraft. This is going quite nice. Actually, it's been very smooth. I haven't had to make a lot of inputs into the controls to try to keep it relatively level, or even just to make a slow, easy descent into the area. So, yeah, quite happy with this aircraft. And if you want, you can set up missions for this aircraft that utilize, guns, rockets, bombs, air-to-air missiles, air-to-ground rockets, smoke rockets for marking targets. It's a multi-role light attack aircraft, and was used. It's still used by some countries as a light attack aircraft and recon. It was used in Vietnam for a number of roles, to include search and rescue, as well as marking targets and attack aircraft. So and there's the airfield just off the left post there on the windscreen. RPM's up full as we start to prepare for landing. Did get a report there are some fast movers in the area, primarily like Su-27s. Hopefully they don't notice us because they should be higher. Maybe we'll blend in a little bit better with the ground. Because we're just kind of defenseless here right now. Just beyond the airfield, and then we'll make our turn in. Make a slow sweeping turn towards the airfield. Landing gear coming down. Give it our first flap setting. Okay, flaps down to full now. Lined up. Start adding a little bit of power here to decrease our descent. good. And touchdown. Alright, so now we can put on the reversers. As long as this runway is, we don't really need it, but it's fun to use them. Plus, if there's fast movers around here, we might help us to get off the runway quicker. Okay, so flaps fully up. We'll get off the active part of the runway here and turn off our lights, the landing lights. Get down here to a taxiway. Maybe not. Okay, SU-27 just shot us up some. Yeah, we're okay. Second run, he killed us. That's just not cricket. Totally unfriendly. And with that, we'll go ahead and take a moment to look at that landing again. Okay then, well, there you have it. Now, somebody started a battle and didn't tell us about it. We didn't have any munitions, weren't able to rearm the aircraft in this mission. Don't know why, but evidently we didn't have anything to put on the bird. So we ended up flying. We came in, got a decent landing, and everything was going fine until, a Russian MiG shot us up on the ground, which is just not cricket. Not fun at all. So, anyway, that is the latest version of the FREEWARE OV10 Bronco, and just a lot of fun to fly. You know, like I said, it's not the most highly equipped electronically of aircraft in DCS. It's not the most high fidelity in DCS, but by golly, she's capable. She will carry weapons, and they will work, and she can drop bombs, fire rockets, and get machine guns shooting. She can do a lot of things once she's armed. But we weren't armed today. This was just a test flight. And by golly, I had a lot of fun. I certainly hope you had a lot of fun. And with that being said, until next time, this is Bug Eater 64. And remember, as always, safe flying.